Welcome to Beyond the Beers. Men breaking the stereotype through conversation. We men love a good yarn, some banter, even better over a beer or 10. Sadly for many men, it never goes deeper than that. This show is a place for men to go beyond the surface level conversations, a chance to learn, listen, laugh and grow. I'm your host Mike Campbell, man coach and author of Amazon bestseller for men's health, Unleash Your Alpha. Let's break stereotypes through conversation. Let's go beyond the beers. Welcome to Beyond the Beers, conversations and cool shit for men. Today I have with me Auld, or Jacko. Now, Jacko and I met when we did a 12-day cycle tour through Cambodia for the organisation Project Futures. And I recall about 1 a.m. in Singapore Airport Transit Lounge, getting my name yelled just after this guy's name, and we wandered off to our room together. And this young kid said, "Oh, I'm a motivational speaker." In my head, I was tired as all hell. We had a bit of chat. He went out for a beer. I went to sleep. And we proceeded to room together for the next 12 nights of that trip. And it was a very interesting thing for me. One, because I'm 34, Jacko's 21, and having this 21-year-old motivational speaker was incredibly intriguing to me, but I also learned very quickly that I really love his perspective and take on life, and he's got some very cool stories which we're going to share with you today. So Jacko, welcome to the show, mate. It's great to have you here. Now, one of the things we like to do here on Beyond the Beers is get to know the guest a little bit first of all. So what I want to do is I want you to give us a little bit of the casual over a beer. What do you spend your time doing and how do you make an impact in the world?
Right, so for me, my sort of time is all about giving back to others. So I'm really passionate about my job. I get to wake up every day pretty excited about what I do. So for my job, I get to go out and present to youth, adults, all sort of mixed type of people, and sort of motivate them to achieve what they want to achieve, and just not limit themselves to that sort of 9-to-5 grind of just paying the bills and that sort of thing. Sort of follow their dreams, as you'd say. The second thing I'm really passionate about is disability. So I hate the fact that disabled people just are really categorised as people that can't really do anything. So sort of my passion and a charity that I work with called Dandelions, we're all about giving kids and adults opportunities to play a bit of sport, network, have a bit of fun, and just go beyond their disability to show people that they really can do some things and really show the world that they're a bit of a person as well and not that. So our sort of philosophy behind that is it's diffability, not disability, so just a different ability. Not because sort of disability categorises them straight away as they have, it's like that word dis, like they can't do something. So diffability just means they're a little bit different, doesn't mean they can't do it. And so that's why we like to call that what we do. But very outside of work, I love my footy, love my sport, love my horses. I grew up on a horse farm, so that's sort of what I love, and that's what sort of get around.
So, and I know this stuff about you, right, which is partly of what intrigued me about you, but the real thing that intrigued me was the story behind it. So can you tell us how you got to that point?
So I sort of, it's sort of all the pinnacle of my story sort of started late end of high school, where I suffered a pretty debilitating neck injury. So I can't feel from my shoulder up on my left side. I can't move toes properly. Have a lot of problem swallowing food because my esophagus doesn't work properly. So all these different challenges I have. So sometimes a couple of beers in, you have a bit of struggles getting the beer down without having a choke or two. But all these different challenges, and it all stemmed from a football injury. At training, just unfortunate event where someone put a bit of a shot on me and put me in a pretty dangerous spot. So my sort of life went from being easy, just comfortable, going to school, playing footy, everything set out in front of me, to sort of being thrown in the deep end and have to figure out for myself what I wanted to do. And I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was lucky enough to come across this organisation that really built me up and then sort of gave me this attitude of giving back. And then that was further cemented in when I went for a trip to Timor and built a few skills. So I really sort of developed this culture where it's all about giving back to people. And if you give back, people are going to start giving back to you as well. That's sort of my philosophy behind it.
Very nice. And so I feel like you're kind of underselling the story a little bit there. The thing that really resonated with me from you was that it was a very serious injury. You broke your neck. You had to learn to walk again, but also to talk again, right? So you talk about, different ability. There was a lot of that seriously impacted on you, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't so much the walking again. That was pretty fine. It's just the talking again.
Yeah.
So my voice box was just didn't give out words properly. So I'd have a real strong lisp. I wouldn't be able to finish my words properly. It was all to do with the numbness and the different nerve endings not working properly.
Yep.
So there's a nerve that runs in your face. It's called the fifth nerve. And what happens is there's 5 nerves that branch out in your face. When I got hit, mine was torn back out of my face and snapped in the channel, which is behind your ear. So all my facial nerves don't work properly. So I can't smile properly. My eye doesn't work properly. Doesn't like blink and that sort of stuff. So they got to put a gold weight in there later to make sure I can blink properly. So all those sort of things, and that's what stopped me talking properly.
So you're still going through some
Still
therapies?
going through that.
So how long ago was this?
4 years ago now.
Okay, 4 years. You're still going through it, but it's certainly not something that holds you back.
No, definitely not. Like, it stops me playing my footy, which is which was a massive passion of mine because my brother plays it, my family love it, so it's a bit of a passion. But just everyday things that are a bit of a struggle. Like, if I can't really chew steak properly because the struggle with the esophagus.
I remember you
the
sharing that
flap,
one in Cambodia. That was your big thing.
The little flap just doesn't cover my windpipe anymore. So if I don't do what I got to do properly, I'll probably choke and have a bit of trouble and be splitting up a bit. But just all those little challenges of talking again, going through rehab and spending my weekends at the minor hospital instead of being out on a football pitch were pretty tough to sort of bring my mind around, for sure.
One of the topics that we like to talk about here on Beyond the Beers is the topic of manhood and how to improve ourselves as men and individuals. Now, I know that in your work you're often dealing with boys and men, a range of ages, right, and stages in life. So I'm interested to get your take on what you think it is to be a man today.
I think it's really tough for us boys or men to sort of figure out what that is. Because at the moment, look, don't get me wrong, I love the feminist movement. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. Everyone should be on the same page. I agree with that completely. But we've sort of told boys that they can't be boys anymore. We've given them, if you don't do this, you're this, and if you're always around girls, you've got the chance of being a sexual predator, and you've got all this sort of stuff thrown at them. And we've sort of said, boys, you can't do that, and sort of we've sheltered them a lot. And there used to be with boys, you'd used to try and be the alpha male, and you'd be the protector, and you'd be the strong one, and you'd be the main income earner of your family. And we've sort of told them, no, that's not the thing. Pull yourself back, control your urges, control who you are, and you're not allowed to express yourself. So I think we've sort of really challenged that for boys, and it's become sort of a space where boys are really challenged to find who they are. So
do you think that they are challenged in the sense that they are finding it challenging?
Yeah, I think like they're challenged to not follow what they want to do, but sort of sculpt how society, they have to sculpt themselves to what society thinks a man should be.
Yeah.
And a lot of boys are coming out, they're a lot of depression, high suicide rates, all that sort of stuff, because I don't think they're
And are you talking to these kind of people
definitely.
on a daily basis?
And boys are really struggling to find who they are. Like for me, if I look at the pinnacle of a man in today's society, it's someone who gives to community, has a great family, really good to his partner, really good to his, or whoever the partner may be, whether a man or a woman, has a good job, loves what he does, and just really moulds in society and is like a giver and a protector.
So he contributes.
But exactly.
A bit of a, to some degree perhaps, a bit of like a North Star.
That's right.
For a role model.
That's right, like a role model to younger men. But I think society's just told men to be, okay, what your role is, be a nice person, and just fit in, rather than be that strong influence, be that strong role model, be that someone to look up to and go, hey, I'll look at him. Let's say his name's Ben. I look at Ben, great job, great family, goes out, leads the community, and like given that opportunity to lead, where we're not telling young boys to lead, we're just telling young boys to fit in. I think it's going to create like a real bit of a challenging sphere for men, and I think that's why you see my generation of boys being really socially awkward, and that because they just haven't really pushed themselves to find who they are and sort of step up to be that man.
And I would agree with you there, and I think that was the key little thing you said at the end there, find who they are. Just a little bit lost as to where they are, and it also sounds like you went through that to some degree yourself, in the sense that your identity was football player, probably tradie at some point, and then that got one fell swoop taken away.
Stripped out, so I had to...
But you did that work.
So went from the football player, like leader at school, going to be a tradie, alpha male figure, to new school, better, like a bit of a beta sort of person, like down the bottom. Still testing the waters, not as confident, not as many friends, and sort of trying to have to find who I was while I had these sort of other influences trying to tell me who I should be, rather than letting me be who I am.
So do you find now that you've found that you've managed to,
I think,
kind of shake off the conditioning or the expectations to find your own path? I
think there's a lot of those conditions that are just constantly placed on you, whether it's through media, family, friends, or mentors. But I think I've really started to figure out that this is what I want to do. It's okay to be able to do what I want to do. I'm allowed to break the path of going to uni, spending 5 years there,
Yep.
going in a desk job that you hate doing and just finding what you want to do. So I think I've broken that mold, but I still think I'm finding who I really want to be. Because like, so some days where you wake up and say you're going to an all-girls school and you've got to be like, okay, I'm going to have to chuck on this bit of a mask where I take off my ochre, like who I am.
And so you're talking about when you're going to present.
Yeah, so like that's the toughest thing for me. Like sometimes I have to take off my really ochre, strong man, strong-willed, speaks my opinion, to be a bit softer, calmer, gentler. So that's the part I struggle with because I hate changing who I am. So I work so hard to get there.
Absolutely. And that reminds me of one of the stories that I remember you sharing was, to me, that, very ochre, right?
Yeah.
Getting up in front of your school and saying a few cuss words, but being 100% yourself, which I absolutely love. Okay, so while we're on this topic of manhood, and we've kind of touched on it very briefly, but what do you think then, given your own experiences in life and talking and dealing with a lot of males around Australia, what do you think are the biggest issues facing us today? And then, as an extension of that, you personally?
I think the biggest issue for men at the moment that I'm finding is being that provider, being the classic, I'm the man, I'm the main income earner, my family will be this.
And so you mean, by that you mean a pressure or expectation?
Yes, I think so completely. Like one stage of the argument, there's a lot of influence in young people at the moment, which is excellent, saying follow your dreams, chase them really hard. And then the other side, some of these dreams can't provide that big income of being the main income earner.
Security.
So they're following their dreams, but the expectation here of being a great man is having a big income and providing for your family. This dream isn't chasing the expectation there. So they've got all these pressures like, I'm following my dreams, but I'm not being that alpha male that I'm supposed to be. So then they've got that gap there where they can't fill, and it leads to a bit of depression and a bit of anxiety because they're not filling that.
Yeah.
And then that next thing is the whole, we're just not letting men be men anymore. We're not letting them be leaders. We're not letting them be strong-willed. We're sort of taking away their, like, manhood.
Yeah.
And for that, like, you can't suppress those things. It's natural for us to be, like, go to school and want to push around each other and be the alpha male or push around and find the pecking order. That's natural for us to do. But we're walking into school and saying, this is your structure. Don't go near each other. Don't touch each other. Don't play hard football. If you play football, you're a brute. If you play this sport, you're a wussy. Like all those sort of pressures. And kids are just playing some sport. Like it shouldn't dictate who you are. Yeah. So there's all those sort of like social statures that are putting kids in pretty precarious spots as well.
So a lot of that's still coming back to conditioning and essentially pressures and expectations coming down through individuals and then through society kind of as a whole.
Right. And then if we look at like, I'd say your generation, from some of the people I'm friends with, the blokes who played football are the alphas and kings, even though they might not be good blokes. The blokes who played the softer sports like, apologies for my reference there, but like soccer or anything like that, they're not considered as manly as those blokes. And then the blokes that loved music, loved drama, really creative blokes are not even considered in the picture at all. They're not considered men, and I hate that. Because like we go to the movies and watch creative people, but we think it's the greatest thing in the world. But yet, as soon as we meet one of them, we think they're a wussy. We love listening to music on the radio. We think they're like. Just
so we've
like
kind of got these two images, polar opposites.
Exactly right, and they don't make sense.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame because you shouldn't feel like because you've chosen to do something, you're not the man. You're not an alpha. You're not strong. You're not willed. Like I think we've really put that pressure. Like you've got to be big muscled. And then you look at like those magazines like Men's Health. I know you've featured in some of those Men's Fitness with your big six pack and stuff. And like men look at that and go, shit, here I am with a bit of a dad bod at 16. There's Mike Campbell, massive shoulders, great biceps, great abs. And there's these other blokes on there as well. And they look at that and go, shit, I'm not that. Yep. And these used to be like challenges that just face like young girls. Now they're men facing them as well. So like you go to gym now, you'd only ever see like blokes in their mid-20s working out. You see kids like as young as 13 in there busting their choppers to try and do it. Yep. And one of my friends is a personal trainer up in Brisbane, and he specialises in anorexia. And now he's getting more boys in than girls with anorexia, and which is a real shame because boys, we play a lot of sport. We're always hungry, and yet there's all these boys that have anorexia because they're looking at these magazines and shaking because they got like no muscles and no like, or maybe they're fat and they look at it and go, well, I'm not a man because I don't look like him and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So, and I would agree. There's a lot of this general kind of expectation on what it should be, and I think you're quite right in this kind of two ends of the spectrum, right? The overt, perhaps macho, and then the complete other side of that, and there's a lack of that kind of balance in the middle. Okay, now obviously, beyond the beers, right? one of the aims of this show very much so is to encourage men to have more meaningful conversations that go beyond the normal kind of banter that we have over a beer, right? So I'm interested to know, because it's hard sometimes, and you've kind of alluded to this a little bit, but is there stuff that you struggle to go into, that you struggle to talk about, that you might avoid, or maybe just have surface level conversation instead of?
So it's probably the whole like neck injury itself. Like when I tell my story a lot at work, but when I tell my story, if we look at like, say it's a puddle, I tell the surface ripples, and yet there's the underwater, there's the plant life, there's all the animals as well, and none of that gets spoken about. New people coming into my life. So the people that knew about it, probably the ex-girlfriend, the new girlfriend, of course, best mates, that sort of stuff. They really know what's going on because they hear about it. They want to know. They're very interested. And like after a while, I just go, nah, fuck it. This is what's going on, lads, or this is what's going on, babe. But the new people that come in that start meaning something, new people that are in and really take a lot of care in who I am and that sort of stuff, telling them what happened, telling them what I'm doing.
Yep. And by that, do you mean like what you've been through in your head and stuff as well?
Even some days it's tough. Like I walk into a school and older kids are good at it because they're too respectful. But younger kids, like if you go like, let's think under 13 under, what's wrong with your eye, sir? Sir, why do you only smile? Why have you got like half a smile? What's going on, sir?
Yep.
Oh, so why do you always touch your neck? Like stuff like that. And then it like hits with the heartstrings.
Yeah.
Then you just say to them, I've just had a tough day, or I got my eye infected, I was out in the dust. So days like that where you've just got that constantly said to you all day is tough. And then like I said, new people coming in and they want to know what's going on, but you only tell them this much. And they're like, no, there's more to it, Jacko. Like, that's not all that happened.
So getting into the real depths of that conversation is the stuff
it's still pretty fresh, hey? Like,
yeah.
It's still completely fresh. And what went on was like completely unacceptable. Like for me to be at a training session and get hit by my own teammate and do some serious damage to my neck and have a bit of brain damage and complete facial palsy is pretty serious. That's not like an everyday thing, and that's not what your teammates do. You go to training, have a bit of a high five, and yet some big fuckhead wants to chuck a big shot on you and completely ruin that and take away your ability to go step on a football.
Yeah, so let's just pinpoint that. So you're talking about a purposeful hit.
Yeah,
right?
Purposeful hit.
So something that you're never expecting it, but in those conditions, certainly not.
At training, in a touch drill, purposeful hit, boom, life changed. So for me to bring that up to other people isn't the greatest thing for me to do, because I get shakes, I get angry, I get goosebumps, I get pissed off. Because that should never have happened. I shouldn't be sitting here today telling someone that half my face doesn't work, in constant pain, can't taste properly, all this shit, where I should just be sitting here saying, oh, hey, nice to meet you, mate. I play footy. Let's go grab a beer. What do you do? I'm a builder. What do you do? Sweet. Everything should be normal. Where I've got to sit here.
Thank you for coming in and sharing that story with us. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. And where I've got to sit here and tell everyone all this hurtful shit that's happened to me, and tell them that my life completely changed because of one bloke's actions, of what he decided to do one day after a training session. And then people want to hear about it. Yeah. And the classic one for me is people say, oh, are you okay? As soon as people say that, I want to punch them. Yeah. So I hate that. I hate people being like, oh, are you all right? Oh, Jackson, it's fine.
So what do you think it is about that question?
That question? I don't know what it is, but as soon as people say, are you okay? For me, that's weakness. And I hate being told I'm weak. I hate people saying that because I fought so hard not to be that. So as soon as someone says, are you okay? For me, that's someone telling me I'm weak. So I just want to knock them on. And I almost do. Like, I've just got to pull back and be like...
So then let me put this to you, because you're speaking a lot earlier about your desire and then willingness to give to people. So the words might be different, but do you find that you, if you think about it, ask a question similar to that to other people?
Never.
Yeah.
All I ever say, if I'm like, say Timor, it's never about them being okay. It's saying here.
Timor, sorry.
East Timor. Yeah. So when I went over for school, it was never about, oh, these people are so unfortunate. Are you okay? Where they're that happy with what they got. It's me just going and saying, hey, I've got an opportunity. Here's something I've given to you. Hope you guys enjoy it. Not saying, oh, I feel so sorry for you guys. I feel that sorry that I've built you a skill. There you go. Yeah. For me, to them, that's disrespectful.
So coming on the same level.
Yeah. For me, coming in and saying, I'm this big Western, I've got there's all this money and we built your skill. We feel sorry for you. Here's a skill. Do work. Where me coming in being like, hey, love how happy you guys are. We thought we'd build this for you. Here's a nice skill. Whatever you want to use it for, cool. It looks great. Thanks for helping us building it. Have a nice day. See you next year. Completely different angle. For me with disability, coming in and saying, hey guys, awesome to meet you. Today we're going to play a bit of sport. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to enjoy it with you. Rather than being like, hey guys, today we put on a sporting event. We know you guys never get to play sport. We know your dad's never seen you play sport before. So we thought we'd run one for you.
Yeah. So then when you're getting that question, is it a case of feeling like you're being talked down to?
Yeah, it's feeling like I've been like I'm not respected and feeling like I'm weak and feeling like that person there is more stronger than me and they're asking me and they've got some advice they can give me and they've got some help they can give me. Where, no, fuck off. Talk to me normal. Just have a chat with me. Just say what's going on. Not just saying like for someone to say to me, hey Jacko, how's everything been? Completely different question. I can say, oh look, this day's been a bit rough. Rah, rah, rah. I can tell people.
So you are happy to delve into that stuff and give a genuine answer?
Exactly right. But as soon as you tell me, like, as soon as you ask a question that automatically in my mind makes me feel weak, not like, to me, that's disrespectful.
And I think, the key thing there being that level. Someone's perhaps you're under or needing help as opposed to just being
there for you. Come at the same angle. Just come in and offer support.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then what about in terms of what you're passionate about? You spoke about providing a example for people to step up and know who they are and own who they are. So would you consider that to be a bigger conversation? By that I mean bigger than you.
Yeah, I just want to start a conversation when we say to young men it's okay to be boys again.
Yeah.
Because we've completely fucked that up in the last 5 years. We've taken it away. We've told young boys that they're sexual predators, they're rapists, they're all this bullshit. And look, like I said before, it's feminist movement, greatest thing in the last 100 years, without a doubt. But it doesn't mean we have to tell young boys every day and thrash it through media that all this crap about their rapists.
Yep, where that's the end or this end of the spectrum.
Yeah, exactly right. We can't run that spectrum. We just have to say to them, it's okay to be young boys, just don't be a fuckhead. That's simple. I'm not.
Can we please have that on a billboard with your face?
Just seriously, it's okay to be a bloke. It's okay to get angry at another bloke. It's okay to go and hit the shit out of someone.
So in the football field. It's okay to feel your emotions. You mean?
It's okay to own who you are. It's okay to go out there and be tough. It's okay to go out to a skate park and completely thrash yourself and come back with a broken arm. Cool. That's what you're supposed to do. Go out and learn.
Yeah. Okay. So learn, experiment, but also actually go through what's going on and not swallow it down.
Not swallow it down. Not be like, oh, I'm getting really anxious at the moment, I'm going to swallow, or I'm a bit upset at the moment, I'm going to swallow it.
Yep.
Let it out. Be a bloke. Find who you are. Because we've taken that away from young fellas and it's not acceptable at all.
Very nice. Well, mate, I think we'll end there on your bigger conversations in your own life and then outside of you. So thank you very much for coming along.
Thanks for the chat.
Always good to chat, mate. Always good to chat. I'm looking forward to that billboard. Just be a boy, just don't be a fuckhead.
Yeah, just don't be a fuckhead.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks for tuning into this short version of the show. To watch the full interview, click on the link below and go to beyondthebeers.tv. There you can sign in to watch the rest of the episodes for free, as well as all the episodes of the show. Otherwise, make sure you share this episode with at least one man you think will enjoy or benefit from it. Now go out into your own life and start having these more meaningful conversations. Ask for help. Ask a mate how he's really doing. Or if he just wants to have a real conversation and go beyond the beers.